What is up, guys? So Spurs back in with another video, and with free agency just about done, I thought it'd be appropriate for me to do my underrated and overrated free agency moves. So starting off, to get into it, for underrated, I thought it'd be moves that probably flew under the radar, or some low risk high reward type moves that I see. And for overrated, obviously the opposite of that, moves that are just talked about by everybody that in hindsight I don't think will turn out well, or not even turn out well, but I don't think will be as good as people make it out to be. So starting off with my underrated list, first guy I want to talk about is Thaddeus Young. Thaddeus Young signed, I believe, a 2 or 3 year deal with the Chicago Bulls. I believe it was for about $8 million a year, so relatively cheap for a guy like Thaddeus Young. But Thaddeus Young is a guy who has been great his whole NBA career. He's always been a steady 13, 14, 15 point per game guy. Also a guy who can give you 5, 6, 7 rebounds. At one point in his career, he was giving you 9 rebounds per game. Just all around great, so durable. Recently, at least, you know, he's missed in the past 2 seasons 2 games in total. And whether it's coming off the bench or whether it's starting, I think he can be good for you. Starting, I'm not too sure. I think he'll probably come off the bench, but he also brings that veteran leadership to you guys. And overall, I think it's just a great signing. I think with a team like the Chicago Bulls, who I believe will be pushing for the playoffs this year, you're going to need that veteran presence in the locker room and on the floor too. Thaddeus Young is a good defender. He's just a do-it-all type of guy. I see him as potentially like a Swiss Army knife. He can help you off the bench, or if potentially Lauri Markkanen goes on with injury. He did go down with an injury last year, so maybe this is some type of insurance for him also. Just all around good. And if you want to know his exact contract, it's a 3-year, $41 million deal. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a great deal for someone of Thaddeus Young's play style or abilities. And yeah, so moving on to my next signing. Next player I want to talk about is Wesley Matthews. Wesley Matthews signed a 1-year minimum deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think this is just great value. Talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. Their topic of discussion this free agency was how they lost out on Malcolm Brogdon, essentially letting him walk to the Indiana Pacers and getting in return first in a couple of seconds. I think Wesley Matthews can definitely do about 70-60% of what Malcolm Brogdon gives you on $20 million cheaper. And that's a good investment. I mean, Wesley Matthews, his whole career has been a 3-and-D type of guy, whether it was in Portland or in Dallas or New York. He's just been good everywhere he's went, and I think that trend will continue, especially playing alongside a team that already has their star players established in Giannis Antetokounmpo and their all-star in Chris Middleton, and they still have great, role players who know their role, who can do well with guys such as George Hill and Brook Lopez. I think he'll be a great addition to this team. Talking about his shooting, it's a guy who can shoot well from the 3. I believe, I don't want to say he shot 45% last year, but he shot pretty high last year. Yeah, that's just what I see Wesley Matthews being shot. I don't know. I just think this is a great signing for you. Somebody who's durable. Also, same thing you could say with Thaddeus Young. And yeah, if you want to know, he did shoot 38% last year, which was good. But I don't know. I don't feel like he had a fair year. He was traded a lot. He played in Indiana and New York and Dallas last year. Like, he was moving around a lot, didn't have a constant. So I think now with the Bucks, we'll see him shine, and I think he'll play really great. But yeah. And then moving on to my final player for my underrated signings, Willie Cauley-Stein. Now, Willie Cauley-Stein, for me, he's an interesting player. Personally, I don't think he's maybe a good big man. I think I don't know. I think with Kings fans, I've heard a lot is his effort. He doesn't give tons of effort. He's always lazy. I've heard stuff like that. But now with the Warriors signing him to a minimum deal also, and him more than likely playing in the playoffs, I definitely want to see him turn up his intensity. I mean, coming out of college, he was highly talked about as being a great center. I mean, I'm pretty sure he did have some comparisons to Tyson Chandler. If he can, get to that point, I think this is a great move for the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors, I believe they did resign Kevon Looney. I don't know how they'll be able to, flip-flop their minutes, Kevon Looney and Willie Cauley-Stein. But I mean, Willie Cauley-Stein is somebody who can give you 10 and 8. He's still relatively young, so I mean, he has some time to improve and work on his game. But all in all, another low-risk, high-reward type of deal that I think will be great, and it will play out well for the Warriors. So, yeah. now that's it for the underrated section. Now I wanted to get to my overrated signings, and my first overrated signing is Danny Green. Now, Danny Green, I think he's a good NBA player. I mean, he's a great 3-and-D guy. He's just very inconsistent. We saw it in the playoffs. He would have games where he would have 16 points on like 4 of 8 shooting, or like 4 of 5 shooting. Next game he would have like 0 points on 0 of 5 shooting. That's why his percentages are always so good, because one game he'll go lights out and the next game he'll be absolutely terrible. And yeah, I mean, $15 million a year for Danny Green. I think Danny Green is more of a guy who deserves maybe 7, maybe 8 mil. I mean, you talk about a guy. Terrence Ross got just under 11 mil. Well, no, he didn't get, actually, he got around 12 mil or 13 mil, I believe. Is Danny Green better than Terrence Ross? I doubt it. I think Terrence Ross can do just about what Danny Green can do and more. And he's relatively younger, a lot younger, actually. Danny Green, I believe, is like 32 or 33ish. Terrence Ross is like 28 or 29, but I don't know. I think it'll still be a great player for the Lakers, but I mean, don't be surprised if Danny Green is out here being very inconsistent and the media is ripping him because one game he's amazing, the next game he's trash. So just don't be surprised by that. But yeah, that's it for Danny Green. Moving on to my next player. This might stir something, but Al Horford. I don't know how I feel about that Al Horford signing. I believe it was 4 years, 102 mil, I believe, by the Sixers. Al Horford is already like 31, 32. You're gonna be giving him 25 mil when he's 36, 37 ish. I really just don't like that. I mean, Al Horford, he's not a big stats guy, of course, so his impact isn't there. His impact is what he can do on the floor, and his fit next to Joel Embiid is gonna be a strange one. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it fits all together. Maybe he'll come off the bench. We could probably see something like that. That's probably what I would do if I was the Sixers. Make him come off the bench, because I think pairing him up and letting him run the bench unit when you don't really have a bench at all is going to be something that's interesting, and that's something that they should probably do. But I don't know. I think you should have just probably stayed away from a player like Al Horford. I mean, he's a good player, but 25 mil when he's, on the lower side of 30, but, he's probably exiting his prime at this point. I don't really like it. But, we'll see how it works out. They got 4 years to try and do something. I mean, this is just an aggressive move, of course, by the Sixers, so you can't really blame them for that. And my last move is the Jimmy Butler sign and trade. Now, the Heat gave him a 4-year max deal for one. Jimmy Butler's already 29, and I don't know, for the Heat, like, if you think about this trade, I think if you wouldn't have made this trade, you'd probably be in the same position as if you as opposed to making the trade. Obviously, I don't think Jimmy Butler makes you that much better in this league. I mean, in the East, possibly you can make the playoffs, if you're up under 500. But I mean, I don't know, how many more games can Jimmy Butler win you in the case if you would have just kept the guys that you traded? I don't think much more. And then you have a lot of money tied up to him for the next 4 years, unless you're looking at pairing him up with another star such as Bradley Beal or CP3. But all in all, I mean, is Jimmy Butler a top guy on a playoff contender? Yeah, that is it. But is he even like the third option on a title team, the second option on a title team? I don't know. I just don't like it at all. I mean, I don't know. This is just a Miami Heat move. The Miami Heat are always aggressive. They're never a team that goes out and just willingly tanks. And I think that's gonna probably hurt them in the foreseeable future. I mean, that's just how I view it. I don't really like the move. I don't think it'll turn out well, but maybe that's just me. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. It's So Swartz, and I'm out. Peace.